I was like, man, I was sitting right here chilling. I was sitting right here chilling. I was sitting right here chilling this whole time. I forgot I didn't even have a shirt on. I mean, granted, how could you forget that you don't have a shirt on? I mean, when you're here chilling underneath the not underneath the AC, but the AC is right next to you. It feels somewhat nice. It's like it feels somewhat nice. No, I don't want to add from beat ups. I'm trying to share that we're live. I'm trying to share that we're live on not all platforms. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch. So wherever you can find us, definitely hop on that. And let me just start this off the right way. Hello all and welcome. I can do better than that. Hello all and welcome to the Hill Turn Podcast. I'm your host, Isaiah Jackson Jr. Jesus Christ. If I don't fucking, hurt myself, break myself, I said I was gonna stop doing the F-bombs. I said I was gonna stop cussing on here, but Jesus, I just can't. It's just like life just be hitting at me. Life just be getting at me at all angles, man. A huge shout out to Glory Pro Wrestling, man. The GOATs. The GOATs coming into the picture, man. A huge shout out to our boys here at GPW. Also, if you're still looking forward to GPW Final Stand, you can go and tune in and watch them. I believe it's on July 5th. It is now on July 5th. Matter of fact, I still got you guys up on my screen here. Do I still got you guys up on my screen? Let me share real fast. Yep, sure do. Still got you guys up on my screen here. We just watched the Shane Carpenter says a chilling message to Apollo Quinn, of course, saying that July 5th is the now the final date for GPW Final Stand. And even though we've seen that, we haven't seen Apollo Quinn respond. Matter of fact, we still got a little bit of time before we get into Monday Night Raw. Let's get a little bit of what Apollo Quinn has to say. Flexing his belt as he should, as he should. Can't hate on that. Speak.
Today's a beautiful day, isn't it? It's quite a sunny day.
Yeah.
Hear the birds singing outside. The sun is shining down. Not even a cloud in sight. And today, as I'm sure all of you are aware, was supposed to be the day that GPW was going to be airing Final Stand. The biggest pay-per-view that this company has ever produced. The biggest pay-per-view that I've ever had the honor to be a part of. Now, I'm sure that a lot of you are wondering why Last Stand was held.
Yeah.
I'm also sure a lot of you might think you already know that because of someone's input on recent events. But I'm here to tell you that whatever you heard is a stretched version of the story. You see, as I'm sure you're all aware, that recently my kid brother was attacked by a well-known individual that you all know the name of.
He who shall not be named, the dog.
And he was admitted into a local hospital very recently. And I visited him a day before yesterday to check on him. It's been a very long recovery process, even longer process for him. And after I left, I headed over to the compound of the company. You see, every one of the superstars that have been admitted into the Federation were all called yesterday. They're all called to meet up at the compound to discuss how things are going to go, how things are going to play out.
I double clicked it.
And what was needed from everyone in Superstars. So, after I left the hospital, I arrived on the scene and was fully ready to set everything up, get everything prepared. Then our beloved commentator, you know him as Gabriel Christopher, he came up to me and let me in on some pretty shocking news. And it was the fact that we had to delay the final stand. Push it back to July the 5th.
July the 5th!
Like all of you, I was shocked. I wanted answers. So I asked Gabriel, why on earth are we delaying?
Matter of fact, just throwing that in there. GPW Final Stand, July 5th on YouTube. Go check them out. Glory Pro Wrestling. This is what I'm actually watching on right now. Just throwing it out there again.
The biggest PLE that not only have we promised the fans, but you also promised the superstars. And he told me there was a couple of reasons. Two, to be exact. The first reason was that the night before, a masked individual who had access to the arena broke in and tore up a lot of the equipment. Equipment that we now have to replace. The company now has to replace. But the interesting thing that he also told me was that there was a bigger issue. Now, as I'm sure all of you are aware, the great ace of spades, Shane Carter, made a response to the situation himself, very recently actually. And as you all are probably not surprised by, he pointed his finger at me for being the cause that things got delayed.
Because you was running.
And as per usual, he left out the things that he was ashamed of. You see, the great ace of spades thought it'd be a great idea the night before to go out drinking. You know, to ease the pre-show jitters that I'm guessing he had.
Wait. Are you trying to accuse my man of being an alcoholic? Are you trying to accuse my man of being an alcoholic? Because now we're over here slandering. Now we're being slanderous here. Let's not be slanderous right here.
Looks like he had a little too much that he did. A little too much of what he did. You know, everyone has their poison. And Shane's is trying to find a solution to his issues at the bottom of the bottle. And it was because of his negligence and his unprofessional that we had to blame last night. So that was already a big shocker to me. But when I tell you that bullcrap was coming in buy one get one free that day, boy, you can't even imagine. Because imagine my surprise when I got back home.
That was a bar.
I see
the bullshit was that was a bar. I
see him. I see the same man who was passed out drunk on his couch the day before, shooting a response, blaming me for this, trying to bend the truth and say that the reason why we couldn't put on the show that we promised you because I went to go check on my kid brother. The kid brother that he attacked. Kid brother, my kid brother. And he drew blood.
See, now here's the thing. Given what we've seen so far, are you guys Shane Carbon fans? Are we still, or are we Apollo Quinn? Where are we rocking at right now? Because honestly, we still standing strong as Carbonites here. I don't care what anybody else got going on. Like Shane Carbon is still gonna always remain the GOAT. Also apologize. GPW, Shane Carbon, Mike, everybody, all the above. It's just I work multiple jobs, only work two. I work two jobs, and as soon as I get home, I crash. So I did read you guys' message, and I should have responded back with the quickness as soon as I got it, and I didn't. So I apologize on that. I wasn't trying to be an asshole, to you guys, just ignoring what you guys got going on. GPW Final Stand, July 5th. And this is actually the main event is what we're sponsoring. The Heel Turn podcast is sponsoring the main event of the evening. And this is just going to be, we're going to keep watching. We're going to keep following the story as it goes on because, look, we're highly invested in what we got going on because the work that they do is absolutely unreal. And we've seen it as well. You can go back to the last stream and see the work that they've done. Just absolutely unbelievable. So huge shout out to the boys. Let me actually dip myself a little bit down just a little bit. So huge shout out to the boys. And I can't wait to see GPW Final Stand, of course, coming out July 5th. That's going to be on YouTube. I'll most likely be at work that day, so I'll probably have to watch it on mute, or I'll have to go back and watch the replay of it. But as best believe, number one, we're gonna post that day. Like, we will have a post that day, regardless. We will post about GPW final stand. We'll get the word out there, and I'll get to it with the quickness. It's like I'll react quicker than I did on yesterday, on the 28th. So a huge shout out to the boys. Huge shout out to what they got going on, man. Apollo Quinn, stop running, brother. You gotta stop running. You got, because I promise you, once Shane Carpenter gets his hands on you, it's wraps, brother. I'm sorry. We're trying to help you. We're trying to be Apollo Quinn fans, but damn it, Shane Carpenter is making it. Shane Carpenter's making it a little. He's making it a little hard, brother. He's making it pause, but he's making it a little hard, man. He's making it a little hard to be Apollo Quinn fans. I don't care if he's lying through his teeth about what it's like. I don't care if he could have made a whole story about why the card got postponed, and it could have been 100% Apollo's Quinn fault. And at the end of the day, I'm still believing him. It's like I'm still believing him at the end of the day, because Apollo Quinn, I'm sorry, you have it. And granted, it's okay. Like, I don't put me in the ring. Don't put me in the ring with Apollo Quinn. It's like I seen his acts of jumping. It's like I seen his jumping material. I've seen him go into the act of jumping people. So I don't want to get into none of that. But huge shout out to the boys. Great work being done. And if you, like I said, if you guys want to follow what's going on, GPW, Glory Pro Wrestling. Matter of fact, yeah, let's put that right there. Glory Pro Wrestling. You can see them right there. Gatorade, please pay me for that. But huge shout out to the boys, doing great work as always. I do got to get into Monday Night Raw, just mainly because I'm on borrowed time. Like, that sounds crazy, but I'm on a time crunch. I want to get into Monday Night Raw. Then I got the skedaddle on home. I'm just at the studio right now. Just wanted to get something out here real fast, and also talk about GPW, and also talk about, first off, what do you guys think of Sami Zayn as champion? First off, Obafemi being King of the Ring, of course, just being the King of the Ring guy, or King of the Ring in general, I feel like that's guaranteed. That should happen, because if Jay Uso would have beat Obafemi, we got way more bigger problems than what any other storyline that got going on in WWE. Because Jay Uso should have not beaten Obafemi, like, at all. That should have been the last thing WWE should have did. So Obafemi winning, of course, was the great choice, and now we think he doesn't have his eyes set on either Roman Reigns or he who will be talked about in a little bit. But of course, we'll talk about that a little bit later as well, because somebody interrupted his announcement. Io Sky got the win over Liv Morgan, as she should. Now she's gonna fight Liv Morgan for the title, which that's where she's gonna lose. It's like she's gonna win the King of the Ring tournament. Of course, that's gonna happen. On the flip side, I think Liv Morgan is gonna get back and win in the title match when it's all said and done. I don't think Liv Morgan is going to go 2-0 against her, in the big 2026, go back-to-back dubs against her. Seth Rollins taking on Braun Breaker, a match, you saw the hate, you felt the hatred, throughout it all. I thought that was just insanely fun in itself. You could feel the animosity, and I thought they put up just a spectacular. I was gonna say something crazy. I thought they put up a spectacular steel cage match, like all through and through. And Seth Rollins got the win, as he should, because it leads us to what we got going on Monday Night Raw as well. So I'll get into that a little bit later. But Trick Williams beat Ricky Saints, a match that should happen. I was like, two guys coming up from NXT, and they put on, I won't necessarily say it was like a classic, but it was definitely like a B+ match. Definitely a match that you tell these guys had chemistry. It wasn't necessarily like the greatest, like the funnest match to ever be seen, to ever be shown. But these guys can go and can do a whole lot more and can be a whole lot better in the ring as well. So that the work being put there is just half of what they could do. Tiffany Stratton got the win against Jade Cargill in a match that was kind of like, I would say, clunky. Like, I thought it was a match that was kind of clunky. Jade Cargill, I was actually shocked, that she got pinned in this one. I thought it was going to be something crazy going on in this match, but at the end of the day, Jade Cargill fell and got the loss. And now it's just a what's next for her. It's just like, what's next for her? Of course, now she could be looking at a Charlotte Flair, but all in all, what more can you do with Jade Cargill right now? And what's with this beef with her and Chelsea Green? What she got going on? What's happening with her and Chelsea? Her and Chelsea over here scrapping with each other. Like, and honestly, like, I think I'm still on Chelsea Green's side. Like, what has Jade Cargill done? It's like, what has Jade Cargill actually done? I've seen Chelsea Green fight, in the independent scene for a lengthy period of time, and then make her way to WWE only to leave and then come back into it's just like so much of that. Jade Cargill, I won't necessarily say she never had to grind because she had to grind in AEW and she had to grind in WWE as well. But there's a difference between the grind and the grind. It's just like there's a difference between a Liv Morgan grind, being WWE sewn, being WWE driven, being WWE built, I guess you could say, and being WWE built. There's a difference between being WWE built and also just getting it from the mud. And like the Chelsea Greens of the world, the people that had to go on the independence, the Io Skies of the world, the Oscars, Shinsuke Nakamura, and and MP New Japan Pro Wrestling. I was gonna have my brain explode trying to spit that acronym out. But Cody Rhodes taking on Sami Zayn and Gunther. Took on Sami Zayn and Gunther in a triple threat match for the undisputed WWE Championship. And of course, the hometown man, Sami Zayn, got the dub, man. And honestly, Sami Zayn being WWE champion, to be honest, I really don't hate it as much as I did. As much as I thought I was going to like be absolutely shitty that Sami Zayn, I thought I was gonna be absolutely shitty that Sami Zayn won the WWE Championship, but like he was. So we were just speaking about the grind. Sami Zayn went through the grind. El Generico, him being a conspiracy theorist. Him just everything. Him being a gangster. It's like he was a gangster at a point in time in the independent scene. So it's like Sami Zayn was just the absolute dog. And so. And of course, when Sami Zayn came in, him walking out, injuring his shoulder and still taking on John Cena in that open challenge for the U.S. title. That was my first introduction into Sami Zayn, of course, on the main roster. After, him getting the break beat off of him by Kevin Owens. Then, of course, having them having their classics back and forth. But you just can't look back at this and say Sami Zayn didn't deserve this. Like that's just one thing you can come out of this and say. As much as I've been hating on Sami for the past year and a half, I can still look back at this and say, yeah, Sami deserved this. It's like Sami Zayn definitely deserved this. I would say the same about like a Kevin Owens. I would say the same about a LA Knight. I was saying that about Jey Uso. I didn't want Jey Uso to be champion, but as soon as the final count hit, he beat Gunther. He tapped him out. As soon as Gunther tapped out, I was like, well, I mean, even though I'm pissed, I can't say he didn't deserve it because he definitely did, and I'm saying that 100% was Sami. This wasn't like obviously this wasn't like a Kofi Kingston type of story, but damn it, it kind of had that. It was close, it had that same feel, kind of like an underdog story. Maybe not Kofi. Let me scoot that back a little bit. Let's go Dolph Ziggler. I want to say this gave us like Dolph Ziggler vibes when Dolph Ziggler won the world title against Alberto Del Rio when he cashed in the Money in the Bank briefcase. I feel like it kind of had that type of vibe to it all. And I know I kind of use Dolph Ziggler as like an insult. It was just like, oh, you better off just being Dolph. I could say that a lot about LA Knight. It's kind of like Dolph Ziggler, where it's like, yeah, we care about you, but you're not really amounting to nothing, and it's not your fault. It's like it's not your fault at all. It's just with the placement that WWE has you at. And even though that's usually I put an insult out there like that, Dolph Ziggler and Sami Zayn, them winning their championships, at that moment was just a top tier moment and a memorable moment at that. And you can definitely say and look back at it and say both guys earned and deserved, those moments. So huge shout out to Sami Zayn. Like I said, as soon as I seen him pin Cody Rhodes, the first thing I wanted to do was hate, and my body just couldn't. It's like my body just couldn't. Like, because I know Sami Zayn definitely deserved it 100%. So that brings us into Monday Night Raw, of course. First off, Rey Mysterio got a dub, man. Rey Mysterio got a dub. Rey Mysterio, now, of course, Rey Mysterio, but still, like, he's still a legend. He's still a Hall of Famer. But, like, I'm not expecting Rey Mysterio to just come out here and start beating youngsters, start beating NXT call-ups like not saying like it's nothing, but Rey Mysterio got the win over Ethan Page. I was like, who the hell does he think he is, man? I was like, who does Rey Mysterio think he is getting these dubs, man? But huge shout out to Rey Mysterio getting the win over Ethan Page. Obafemi is coming out here giving out an announcement. Unfortunately, Brock Lesnar came out and had to speak. He said to Obafemi, talk shit, get hit, and then he hit him with a low blow. And of course, Obafemi wasn't going to take that sitting down or kneeling down. So he got up and challenged Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. And Brock Lesnar was like, well, hell, we're in Minneapolis. Let's make it a Hell in a Cell match. And Oba was like, I like the sound of that. Let's end this. Let's end this once and for all. And I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. I was going to go steel cage match, but hell, still is steel. Like, you know, steel is steel. I'll take whatever. I'll take whatever we can get right now. So I don't care. You know, I was like, I don't care at all. So I'm cool with it. We'll talk about matter of fact, let's talk about it right now, because Austin Theory was talking to Paul Heyman was talking to Adam Pearce. He was hyping up the Hell in a Cell match, and Austin Theory walked up and he said, hey Paul, like, I got a match coming up. I didn't know you were here. And then Paul goes, oh really? Well, now you know. And then he walks away. Like, damn, like, that's crazy. Like, and of course Logan Paul's out with injury. Bronson Reed still out with injury. Braun Breaker, of course, is going to be out for a split second after his hellacious match against Seth Rollins. So now it is just Austin Theory. And I mean, let's be honest here. Let's just be 100%. If you can stand beside Michael McGillicuddy, Curtis Axel, you can stand beside Austin Theory. Don't do that, Paul Heyman. Don't do that, Paul Heyman. Don't be that guy, because you know for a fact, if you can stand beside Curtis Axel and be his hype man, you can stand beside Austin Theory. Don't do that. don't do that. Don't do that. But honestly, even though I love me some Joe Hendry, I'm just not a fan of his music. I kind of just sit there in silence. There's not really much he really says that kind of, gets me out of my seat. It's not really The Rockish. Usually The Rock will say something and I'm just like, dang. When The Rock had a song about Vicky Guerrero and I said no biatch, it's like that was like, The Rock has memorable moments with him sitting at the stool. Elias, he had one song. Like, he just had one liner. Who wants to walk with Elias? If you said yes, you was in for a treat. It's like, if you didn't, then it is what it is. You got what you got. It's like, but even though we did get the live concert, I just really wasn't a fan of it. I just kind of sit there and silence, kind of just shrug my shoulders. Joe Hendry kind of doesn't. I'm sorry, he just doesn't strike me as funny. He kind of just strikes me as a little awkward. Like one of them, like one of them type of deals. That's kind of how I sit there watching Joe Hendry. But of course, Joe Hendry did have a match as well against Austin Theory, and Joe Hendry still ended up getting the win, which is why, of course, it kind of explains why Paul Heyman isn't answering isn't answering Austin Theory's phone call. Like, it's all making sense. It's all coming together. Austin Theory ain't getting his phone calls answered because he said he had taken L's. He said he had losing. He's struggling. But brother, the same age as me. We weren't in high school together. Let me stop. But we were at the same time. We grew. We're at the same age. We're the same age. So, it's just like, he's 27? He'll be fine. He will be fine. But what's it called? You did have Dom and JD just absolutely trash Danhausen's hideout, which, of course, Danhausen is going to curse them a little bit later. I expect that. What's the name? Raquel Rodriguez had to take on Maxine Dupree, and I'm not even going to cover that. Y'all should already know what happened in that match. It's just like, I'm not finna. If I'm talking about it, that means Maxine won. Like, let's be honest here. If I'm talking about the match, that means Maxine won. Other than that, we finna ignore that, because y'all should already know what happened. It's like, y'all should already know that. We ain't gonna do too much talking about Maxine Dupree. Like, come on now. Io Sky came out with a crown, of course, showing that she is the queen of the ring winner. And of course, Queen Io, as she should be called, as she is. And man, you gotta give it up to Queen Io. She is just absolutely, she's fire. She's fire. She is fire. Jesus Christ. I mean, let me stop. I was gonna do something absolutely dastardly. I was gonna say something absolutely dastardly, but I'm gonna just keep it to myself. I'm gonna keep it to myself, man. I ain't gonna do that. LA Knight, of course, took on Jimmy Uso. LA Knight, it looks like there's a little bit of a heel turn coming on. We might have to do a little video on that. We might have to do something about that. LA Knight took on Jimmy Uso. Big Jim was able to get the win. I was absolutely floored. I was like, what are we doing? I was like, man, Roman, we got that tribal chief privilege. What's happening here? What we got going on here? Jimmy Uso got the win. Oh, a win over like a top tier opponent. Not no mid Carter, but like not like an Austin Theory. It's like, but Jimmy Uso got the win, of course. But LA Knight had to go in there and just beat the brakes off of both of them. But because LA Knight just couldn't take the L, of course. And then they run into Jacob Fatu as well. Jacob Fatu told the Usos backstage that Reigns told them to go to SmackDown and finish the feud with Solo. And then this came after Solo saved LA Knight in a post-match attack against the Usos. So after that, Lyra Valkyrie explained why she turned on Bayley, and she told everybody why she had to put up with Bayley losing her anger over and over, so it was unfair to be judged for one time, which, I mean, she's spitting. I was like, she definitely spitting, honestly. And so just looking at this whole thing and how it's playing out, Chad Gable did get the win over JD McDonough. I do want to throw that out there. Chad Gable got the win over JD McDonough. Chad Gable got new theme music, which I kind of I don't hate it, but I do like that they chant his name, Chad Gable. So that gives us something to do. It's like it gives us something to do while he's going out there about to break people's ankles. At least that's what I'm hoping he's going out there to do. Man, that Spanish fly from the top rope looked like he killed both of them, though. Like, that was just absolutely atrocious. I'm glad both guys are fine, but, man, JD McDonough, he just looked like he'd be ready to let me stop. I can't say that. He looked like he'd be ready to unalive himself in a lot of these matches. Like, he'd be looking absolutely terrifying. But he's safe. He's good. And so I ain't finna press on it too hard. And then, of course, we got the main event, which was Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins going back and forth. Roman Reigns had to come out here and talk about how he smashes his opponents and how he does this and does this to the WWE roster, and he puts belt to ass and yada, 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 until Obafemi comes over. Because as soon as Obafemi comes walking up, after Obafemi gets done with Brock Lesnar, he going to have something for that ass. And I can't wait. I can't wait. But outside of that, so much history, so much tension between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns actually came out and said that, hey, bro, you got to get to the back of the line. Like, you ain't do nothing to even get in my face here. But Seth, of course, with the great point of just like, brother, when it comes to me and you, I'm always at the front of the line. Like, as long as he didn't say this, but as long as Dean Ambrose ain't in here, brother, I'm always at the front of the line. And that's 100% fact. I don't care if Seth Rollins was gone for 5 years. I don't care if Seth Rollins is going for 5 years. But if Seth Rollins is going for 5 years and Roman Reigns is still champion, I want Seth Rollins' ass to be front and center. It's like I want Seth Rollins to be front and center. Huge shout out to Keaton. What's this? Keaton Haslett. That's a sick name, honestly. Keaton Haslett. You got to tune in July 5th for GPW. Oh, brother, that's all I got planned for July 5th. What do you mean? It's like that's all I got planned for July 5th. Of course, you could, and we also watched Apollo Quinn's promo as well earlier in the stream as well to talk. We talk a little shit about Apollo Quinn. Talk a little shit because we're Carbonites, of course. Heavy on Shane Carbon, who is our predicted winner in the main event match. So GPW Final Stand. Let me put that out there. GPW Final Stand. Tune in July 5th. Don't miss it at all. Live on YouTube. I'll tell you, it's impossible. You don't even got to take your wallet out. What you got to take your wallet out for? You don't even got to pull your wallet out. So it's perfectly fine. You'll love it. And what was that? Oh, yeah, Seth Rollins, man. Seth Rollins, he's always at the front of the line. When it comes to Roman, I don't care. 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years. Seth Rollins, what? You want to come back? I know the perfect person for you. It's like I know the perfect person for you type deal. Wait, what? Whoa. Who is we? Quinn will win. Whoa. I ain't never did this before, but can I block this person? Can I start blocking people? Can I start? What's happening here? And I'll see who is we. Quinn will win. That is crazy. Of course, we have our guy, the heel of Dofer, who will come on here and he actually voiced his opinion. I think he actually commented on the last Shane Carbon's promo. He talked about the Carbonites unite. But man, Quinn will win. I don't know about that, man. I don't know. I'm not putting my money on Apollo Quinn. Nah. After I seen him rocking in that Muriel Courage the Cowardly Dog chair, I was like, I can't root for this dude. I was like, I can't root for this guy. No, Shane Carmen all about business, man. Belt to ass, 100%. I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep hyping up my dog. Like it gets serious when Shane Carmen gets into the picture, you know. It gets serious. It gets real wicked talking about Shane Carmen. He gets serious. You seen those? You seen his promos, especially the promo when he was in the street, looking back, making sure his ops ain't behind him, making sure his ops ain't behind him. Ricky, you know, it's like he about it, bro. He's serious. It's real out there, and I forgot where they said they was at in Utah. Yeah, it's real out there in Utah, man. It's crazy. Y'all know NBA young boy out there. He don't play. I was like, you know, I was like, it's serious out there. But dang, where was I at? Oh yeah, Seth Rollins and Roman. Roman actually agreed. Roman was like, I mean, you right, but you right. Let's end this once and for all SummerSlam. Which they ain't ended this once and for all. We know they finna run it back at some point in time once, you know, because the Roman and Seth, of course, are in that same boat as like Kevin and Sammy, as like Lita and Trish, you know, like John Cena, Edge, John Cena, Randy, where it's just like no matter what year, no matter when it is, they gonna see each other. You know, they gonna run into each other. Something gonna happen, you know. So it's like that's always gonna happen. Even Roman calling Seth Rollins little brother, like we know something gonna happen. Look at that. What I'm saying, Carbonites will take the dub, man. 100%. 100%, man. It's all about the Carbonites over here. That's all we rock over here. The Carbonites. But a huge shout out to GPW and a huge shout out to Keaton Haslett as well, the Apollo Quinn fan, who gave Shane Carmen the account. Hey man, now we lying? Now we sitting here lying? You know what? I just think you're just jealous. You know, I just think you're jealous. So now we have this conspiracy that Shane Carmen is on the account. No, I don't want to. You know, it's just like, even though it was somewhat proven, even though it was somewhat admitted in the last stream, I'm still calling you a liar, brother. You know, like I'm still calling you a liar. That's what we're doing here. But biases aside, definitely can't wait for the match. Definitely can't wait for what they got going on. GPW Final Stand July 5th. Be on the lookout because the matches are going to be top tier. We can run. Well, actually, I'll be live Wednesday. That's how and I'll let this be known as well. Before I get into because I believe I'm gonna go live Wednesday. So I'll go live Wednesday and I'll see if I can go live Saturday as well. So the next 2 times I'll go live, I'll start off with GPW as I did today. So today, as soon as I walked in, GPW slid into the chat line, and I already had the YouTube up. All that. Let's get into it. You know, it's like so. Even with that, throughout the week, I'll start off with GPW, of course, give you the updates, watching the promos as they get posted. So we will be here Wednesday. We'll be back Wednesday for sure, and then next time we'll be here will be either Saturday or Sunday. And we're also live on Twitch. We play UFC 6. I just won I just won the lightweight title. Ilya Tuporia is a hoe. You know, I already showed him. Look, he thought Justin Gaethje beat his ass, man. I did him in the worst way. Pause. No, it's just like Ilya Taporia thought he thought he had it smooth with Justin Gaethje, man. I must have, man. But you got to see it. But you got to see. I can talk about it all day, but you got to see it, and it's on Twitch. So be on the lookout for that. Thank you guys so much, so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.